Hello everyone, it's me Varus, and in this video, I'll be giving you an update on what's just been happening. A past snowstorm for the northeast and areas of the mid-Atlantic yesterday, as well as a pretty big interesting pattern coming up in a big historic snowstorm for portions of the southwest, Gulf Coast, and even the southeast. It's going to be pretty big, so let's get right into it. So starting off with national gridded snowfall analysis for our past storm that mainly just affected the northeast. Still just want to go over it, as if you've been staying updated to my Twitter, I did have some forecasts out. So this was mainly, honestly, an interior storm. The heaviest axis was just to the north and west of I-95 here. Let me redraw that slightly better. But yeah, the axis of snow was just to the north and west. Now, I-95 still got a solid 3 to 5 inch swath, especially Boston, 4 to 6 inches. But anywhere from, I'd say, Philly to NYC, even Baltimore was mainly 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inches. Now, inland, we saw 4 to 6, 6 to 8, and even portions of 8 to 12. Now, you do see this heavier little snow over here in south central Pennsylvania. That's because we had heavier bands setting up right along this area. We were expecting these bands to set up further south and west, causing heavier snows closer to Baltimore and Philadelphia, and even DC. However, since it was situated just north and west, that we missed out on the heavier snows, and most of that was to the north and west. Now, that being said, we still did get a quick burst of some pretty good snow for Baltimore, so they were able to get up to like 1 to 2, 2 to 3 inches. Looks like 1 to 2 inches. Philly was able to get up to 3 to 4 inches. And then New York City was right on the border, 3 to 4 inches, I'd say, as well. And then Boston, 4 to 6 inches, all along the I-95. DC, however, only about an inch at most. I was thinking more over there as well. But hey, it was a pretty good snowstorm for the inland areas. It does help to bring some enjoyment to them, as they were actually missing out a lot, as lots of the snows happened. Our previous snowstorm, big one, happened down here, and Philly and towards Boston actually missed out on that quite a bit. So pretty nice little snowstorm for these areas. Me personally, I'm near Philadelphia Metro. I got around 2 inches, so I'll take that. So yeah, that was a past snowstorm. If we go on to current surface analysis, what is going on right now, you can see this is our low pressure. Here, let me see if I can zoom in a bit. This is our low pressure up here that just brought that snow. It's starting to head out. It was a very quick mover, I swear. If it did stay and slow down a little longer, we really could have got dumped on over here. Even on the I-95, we could have got much more than what we got, but it's zooming out of here, so that's out. But one thing it did bring, besides heavy snow, it also brought some very, very cold temperatures. I mean, if we zoomed in, took a look at some observations, 20s along the coastal plain and teens inland, as well as single digits up in the higher elevations as of right now. And these temperatures are going to drop at night. I mean, I-95 could get into the single digits, while inland gets to 0 degrees or even negative. So it's going to be pretty interesting for the northeast. If we shift a little more westward, got a cold front dropping down. Nothing. It is pretty arctic. I mean, as you can see behind it, negative 30 degrees over here. We have some pretty big National Weather Service cold weather statements, extreme cold warnings over here. Because of this cold front is definitely dropping temperatures, and I mean, lots of the entire U.S. is very cold. I mean, freezing all the way down to the Louisiana coast, Florida panhandle, and it's just going to continue to get colder. Now, the West, also really cold, but they have been in a slightly warmer pattern, as the East has been in a more colder pattern, if I did have to say. Now, what I will say is we're going to have this low pressure right here is going to start trekking its way south and east, and that's going to set up our next major snowstorm in these areas generally. Right in here, you can extend it over here as well. Though these general areas, get ready for your next snowstorm, okay? Especially towards the south. So it's gonna, and that's pretty rare. I mean, we could see snow all the way down here into the Gulf Coast, and that is very rare. It's once in a lifetime experience. Is definitely possible. So if you're out and live down here, get ready. It's gonna get really fun. Depends if you're a snow fan or not. Now, getting into the National Weather Service's latest alerts and advisories and indices, we have widespread cold weather advisories from the deep south We have extreme cold warnings in the north central U.S., areas of the southwest, cold weather advisories along the I-95, including D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, almost to NYC. And yeah, millions, hundreds of millions of Americans are currently under cold advisories right now. And if you take a peek down here, winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings are up for areas of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And watches are up for Georgia. Many of these will become warnings, and they'll continue to possibly get extended into the Carolinas. So that is our main next snowstorm on the way. So let's actually talk about that snowstorm. So right now we have the NAM 12 kind of pulled up. So it is actually approaching early this week. So kind of Tuesday is when the onset for down here through the midweek. So if we start out, our low pressure over here, it starts to kind of shift its energy down to the Gulf Coast. Meanwhile, we have this piece of energy over here in Colorado, and that's gonna dive south. And with our energy here, they're gonna both meet up. Sorry for that stuttering. I'm stuttering crazy, but they are gonna meet up, and you start seeing a little low pressure pop off, almost tropical looking, almost. But it's not gonna be anything tropical. But we do have a low pressure popping up, not impressively strong, but it is enough to spark up precipitation. I mean, you have mixing all the way into Mexico, snow into Mexico. I mean, your rain-snow line is maybe even Brownsville, the most southernmost kind of town in Texas, is gonna get a possibility of wintry mix, at least. So that just tells you how cold this cold air is as it sinks down into the U.S. So as we continue, you see the low starts kind of moving in this general direction, slightly north, but mainly east, and you just see this narrow swath of snow. There's going to be a sharp cutoff to the north. It's not just going to be like a little fading type cutoff. You just see this sharp cutoff, okay? Sharp cutoff. Rain-snow line will be important to see which areas down here get the most. New Orleans is a hot spot, okay? New Orleans, a mix, and snow, both is likely, and it's going to be pretty interesting because just north and west of New Orleans could get some major snowfall. So that's that, and then it continues to move out to the southeastern U.S. So before we go into the southeastern U.S., let's take a look at total snowfall. And I mean, there you have it. I mean, I do think this is overdone. I don't think a foot or 10 inches is likely or anything. I mean, it's possible, but anything is possible. But I'd expect for this area more to be like 4 to 7 inches, okay? Which is still very impressive. I mean, I haven't seen in this area get 4 to 7 inches in a while, okay? Maybe not even in my lifetime. So that's interesting. Even dustings and a couple accumulating snow down into Texas, but heaviest axis looks to be when the storm really starts amplifying towards Louisiana and southern Mississippi and Alabama. So that's that. I mean, we can also take a look at temperatures during this time too. Just put it back a little. Kind of right in here, you see temperatures stay below freezing, okay? Not until after the event, I mean, Texas starts to warm back up, but during the duration of the event, it's freezing, unless you're down here, maybe that's why we're seeing some radar, more warmer temperatures down here. Now, let's get into the southeastern U.S., see what they are looking to get. Many people live down here. So, as it exits Louisiana, we start getting it into here. Now, we do have other energy over here. More energy up here, a little bit of scattered energy here, and this is going to help to amplify even more moisture over here. We start seeing snow. Atlanta, I do think the snow is going to be mainly south of you guys, at least from the latest trends. It could still trend north and west, but as of now, most likely the snow will stay south and west of you guys. Montgomery, Alabama, somewhere in here, you guys have a good chance of getting some snow currently under a winter storm warning. And remember, winter storm warnings down here doesn't take much. Only a couple inches and you're in a winter storm warning. Advisories itself is only like half an inch or an inch of snow. So very, very low requirements for meeting criteria over here. So if we continue this, the snow swath, I mean, even the Florida panhandle getting into some heavy snow. That rain-snow line almost just rides the Gulf Coast. And yeah, I mean, Savannah, Georgia, for example, I have lots of families there. Savannah, Georgia, wintry mix. You can see, as of now, in the on radar, and then it looks more of a wintry icy mix, but snow is possible there too. And then as we continue, now this is freezing rain right in here. Okay, that's what causes a sheet of ice. Sleet is in this purple color, and then blue is snow, and then green is rain. This is gonna be, if you live in these areas, please stay indoors, because it may not be a lot, but knowing that this portion of the US doesn't get that much wintry weather, it's not, these people aren't used to it. So it's going to be very, very treacherous travel, especially with this ice. Jacksonville is situated right over here. Now, not lots of people are talking about, but I wouldn't rule out the chance of wintry weather here. Most of the alerts are north of you guys, but if you are in Jacksonville, freezing rain, I mean, even at the end of the frame, freezing rain, some type of wintry mix, possible, for sure, okay? Do I say it's likely? It's going to be close, but I definitely think just watch out, okay? Because that's a very possible chance. Tallahassee, for example, looking pretty good for you guys for wintry mix, snow, and whatnot. And then it kind of gets out of here. If this continues to trend north and west, further areas over here could get more into it. Okay, I know this leads up to the mid-Atlantic, but doesn't look to be much of a storm for you guys as it mainly stays offshore. But coastal areas of South Carolina, like Myrtle Beach, for example, Wilmington, North Carolina, those areas could get some snow. Okay, coastal North Carolina. Raleigh, it might be a little hard. Or Roanoke, it might be a little hard. But can't rule out a couple flurries at least. Now, let's get into total snowfall. And let's push this out a little. Lots of this is actually ice, so just don't take into consideration this is 8 inches of snow. Lots of this is ice, okay? So, I'd say probably in these areas at least in these areas, I could see 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inches of snow. Definitely possible. And then as it leads up, it's less and less because the energy starts moving out. But I mean, this kind of shows you the entire event, and so heaviest snow looks to be concentrated, I'd say, in these areas. Heaviest snow. Okay, more snow probably over here. Lots of this, again, is ice. So, that's that winter storm. Moving forward, let's see what's going to happen. So, there's your winter storm right there. And that starts to move out. Then we actually kind of get to a quiet period through mid-late week. But temperatures, I mean, continue to stay cold. Now, we do see a little bit of moderation, and there has been a signal for this time period for areas of the mid-Atlantic. We've seen energy down here meeting up with this cold air that we're going to continue having into early next week, which looks to bring a little event for DC to Philly, maybe. It's still far out, so we can't complete, but it is under 200 hours, so it's something to watch out for. And that goes out, another little event maybe for the Southwest. As that heads out, we do see a moderating period. But I mean, we still see very warm, like, not very warm, but warmer conditions than average out in the west, and then a more troughier type trough in the east. So that continues, but it does start to moderate, as you can see. Now we finally start to moderate towards the beginning of February, but this is getting very far out, so wouldn't trust anything yet. But I mean, I consistently see this pattern, okay? Consistently warmer temperatures in the west, and I consistently see some type of trough hanging out in the northeast. Now, we will have that southeast ridge that looks to flex, causing this moderation to push further north rather than staying down south. So that's that. Just a little forecast. Now let's see what the Climate Prediction Center says. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. So January 27th through early February. As we round out January, below average temperatures for the west, but that or near normal. Above average for the central U.S. and then below average over here. This would be next week into early January. So this week it'd be more kind of warmer in the west and then cooler overall in these areas. So cool. So we'll have some type of pattern that kind of goes like that or something like that. So that's the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Getting into the precipitation, we have drier conditions in the west, okay, and that is kind of why the fires are going on right now in California. Prayers out for them, whoever still needs it. But very dry over here, near normal towards the Midwest. Near normal right along the I-95. I mean, you are surrounded by some above average precipitation, so wouldn't be surprised. Above average for the south, I would say the northeast and northern tier of the U.S., just below average towards the southwest and western U.S. So that's about it. Was a little bit of a longer video, but I mean, hey, I haven't talked to you guys in a while, so definitely worth it. Gonna try to get more uploads more frequently, as it's been a very long time. I'm gonna try to be more frequent with it. Just school and everything has been very busy, but thanks for hanging all along with me, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.